What's up, YouTubers? Johnny DIY here. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to change or replace your car's battery. This is going to be for a Honda CR-V, Civic, Accord, Pilot, Odyssey, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, plus 2021. If you guys are new to my channel, do me a favor, click the subscribe and the notification bell so you can get all my new videos. Let's get to it. Okay, so we'll pop our hood and we'll come over here on the right side. This is where our car battery is. So maybe your car battery won't start at all, or it's getting really hard to start. We'll go ahead and check the voltage with our multimeter first. We'll just pop this cover up here and put red on red, black on black, and look what we're reading on the multimeter. About 10 volts. We should be running between 12 and 12.7 volts while the car's off. So this thing is really low. You can have your battery tested and even have it charged at like AutoZone if you want to try that first. Okay, now the battery is held in by this battery clamp and these J bolts, and we just need to loosen up one. So we'll go ahead and loosen up, actually this one will be easier to loosen. We don't need to loosen it all the way, we just need to loosen it enough so we can pull it out of the hole in the bottom. I'll make sure I put links down in the description to all the tools and supplies like the multimeter and everything I'm using today. Once it gets loosened up, should be able to pull that bottom out on that side, and then on that side it comes out as well. It just hooks into a little hole on the side. Set that aside. And now we're going to disconnect the battery, but before we do, they actually make a tool so that you don't lose any of your stored data. Sometimes you'll need radio codes, as well as your computer will have to relearn. So they make a tool that you can hook up to another battery like in another car. But for today, I'm just going to use jumper cables. Okay, we've got our positive one hooked up, and we'll hook up our negative one. Okay, so I've got our donor car hooked up, the battery to it now. Now we can go ahead and disconnect the battery we're working on. We're going to go ahead and do the negative side first. Always do the negative side first when you're disconnecting it, and it's the reverse when you're reconnecting it. You carefully disconnect it, set it aside. Disconnect the positive second. You're gonna have to be careful with these wires. The jumper cables might pop off. See if we can do this, huh? It'd be kind of tricky pulling these off and getting the battery in. See if we can't get this cover off first. Okay, got that out. Now let's see if I can get it back in without disconnecting those jumper cables. Get our new one. Slip that in. Making sure to put it back in the same way as the old one came out. Pull that little cover off on the positive side. This thing, some people leave this on and then wonder why their battery won't start. And for reconnecting it, we're going to carefully put our positive side on first. Now if your battery terminals are dirty, it's a good idea to clean these while you have it apart. And you're going to snug this down good and tight. And then we're carefully going to put the ground side back on. That goes on second. Snug that down good and tight too. And we can carefully remove the grounding clamp, then the positive red clamp. Then I'll disconnect the ground clamp on this side. And the positive finally. Let's check out that old battery real quick. This is the factory battery, but it's only about 3 years old. This is a 2017, but if you check out the sides, they're completely bowed out on the sides. That's what happens when the cells swell up and fail. And you can totally see the casing is swelled up and swollen like that. That's how you'll know the battery is swollen. It'll swell on the sides as well, but usually on the ends it does like this. They're just really not designing or making batteries to last 5-10 years anymore. And to be honest, this is undersized for the size of the car. And with all the electronics, electric power steering, it just draws so much, the battery's having to work hard. So you can put a larger battery in here, but it involves changing the clamps and wiring, extending those, as well as the mounting. You can get a size 24F in here. Go ahead and give it a little brush with our wire brush. A little battery tool. These are great to have, these little battery tools. You can clean your terminals. Get these things really shined up. Get all that nasty corrosion off. Make sure you're wearing eyeglasses. Battery acid is nasty and you don't want that getting on your skin. Gloves. Okay, now don't do what I just did. I forgot to put that little insulative cover on. I'm going to try and get it back on real quick. This just helps prevent heat damage from the engine since it is a smaller battery. Looks like there's some tabs on the side. We can actually undo this cover and slip it on, thankfully. Okay, we've got that stupid cover back on. And now we're going to put the clamps back on. They hook down into the side to a hole. Then we're going to tighten it down. If you have a 10mm deep socket wrench, it'd be the easiest for this. Make sure it's centered. The bolts are vertical. Make sure it's nice and tight, but don't tighten it down too much that it damages the casing on the battery. There we go. Give it a test, shake the battery. It's not going anywhere. And then the last thing we're going to do is put some of this dielectric grease on the battery terminals. You could also use battery terminal spray, but this works just as good. You just rub it on the terminal and the connections after you connect it. You don't want to rub it on before. Just put it on. This will help corrosion from building up. You just rub it all over. Usually the positive side gets more corrosion built up. Just want to periodically check your battery to make sure it's not got corrosion built up, because just the corrosion will mimic a bad battery. Sometimes you get lucky and just need to clean your battery. Then we just need to close up these covers. That one, and then that one. Actually, now let me show you the voltage of this one. Should be running around 12.7. Yeah, we're right at 12.24. It'll be a little low because it's been sitting on the shelf, but anywhere between 12 and 12.7 will be good. Now our last test is going to be to start it up and see if our radio presets all stayed. Starts right up. Radio works. All the presets are still there, so our jumper cable hack worked. And the last thing we can check is with our multimeter. Make sure that our alternator is working properly, charging it. We'll just hook it back up. We'll check the voltage. Should be around 14 to 15. Looks like we're right at about 14 volts, which is good. Alright guys, and that is how to change or replace your battery in your Honda. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you can get all my new videos. Thanks for watching Jonny DIY. Keep on doing it yourself, guys. Take care.